These issues, especially of bad governance and accountability, and I think all the issues that we have raised, some that you even picked from the videos, what do you think is the solution?
When it comes to matters of enforcement, we realize that there are agencies that are charged with enforcing the promotion of national cohesion and values principles, like the National Police. They have a role to ensure that various principles are enforced.
There are people on the ground who cannot even afford that bus fare, so they walk from town. They walk from Kibra to industrial area. Those are the people we are more concerned about, yeah? For creating the time to come join us in our podcast, where we will be discussing a lot on matters, governance and accountability, and how this affects Utu. Maybe we could just start with an introduction of yourself, the directorate, its mandate, and what you do. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much. My name is Kefa Odemba. I'm a Principal National Cohesion Officer at the Directorate of National Cohesion and Values. This Directorate of National Cohesion and Values was formed in the year 2008, courtesy of sessional paper number 1 of that year, which gave it the mandate of spearheading and coordinating the promotion of national cohesion and values in the Republic. Factors that predisposed the country and made it necessary for government to come up with this office, with this whole Directorate of National Cohesion and Values, was because of the post-election violence that we had in the year 2008. So one of the functions is to promote national cohesion. The other function is promote national values. And how do we do this too? We do this too through trainings, sensitizations, exchange programs with the communities as well as youth and women as well as elders. So that is what we do. So far so good.
So since 2008, how are you able to measure the impact of the work that you do?
2015, we had a survey, a baseline survey on what is the impact of national values in the Kenyan society. This was done in the 46 counties of the Republic. Initially, we had intended to have all these 47 counties, but due to conflicts that were taking place in Garissa, we couldn't do that. We did a baseline survey which touched on measurability of what national values are in the Kenyan society. We also looked at the enforcement of national values in the Republic, so as to find out how, well have we enforced the various principles that govern the promotion of national values and national cohesion. Then again, we also looked at the issues to do with the institutional performance of various institutions that are, engaged in matters to do with the promotion of national cohesion and values. So we managed to find out how far so good these institutions have, ensured that we mainstream the principles of national cohesion and the principles of national values in the Republic. Then again, we also tested to find out what are the indicators of national cohesion and national values. So far so good, we have our sister commission, that's National Cohesion and Integration Commission, that came up with the various indicators that are used to find out what can be held on to say that this is a cohesive society or this is a value-based society. So we did all this in the 46 counties, and we came up with a number of findings which are very observable, findings that are quantifiable. Like when it comes to matters of enforcement, we realize that there are agencies that are charged with enforcing the promotion of national cohesion and values principles, like the National Police. They have a role to ensure that various principles are enforced. So we found out what makes the National Police not to enforce the various principles that would lead to a cohesive and value-based society. Then we also looked at the works of National Cohesion and Equality Commission in Parliament, which is a committee that is in charge of ensuring that national cohesion and values is promoted in the Republic through the National Assembly. So we realized that there are certain issues that make the committee in Parliament not to effectively function, and there are those that they've already also achieved. Then also looked at institutions such as Kenya National Commission for Human Rights, which is also charged with ensuring that certain principles, such as certain values like human rights, values such as human dignity are enforced in the Republic. And we found out the strides that they've made, the various, sort of bottlenecks that they are experiencing. Then again, we also looked at what the Commission is doing, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, which is charged with ensuring that there's equality of opportunities, so as to ensure that there is no cases of, denigration of human beings, cases that may make human beings in the society not to enjoy their dignity as human beings. So that is the mandate of the National Cohesion and Integration Commission. So we found out what the Commission has done and hindrances that are also meeting. Yes, many of the times that we've had the Commission say that issues to do with hate speech, and I know a lot of people know the Commission as an agency that is only charged with the hate speech, but hate speech is just one of the aspects of what they do. We also looked at what we do as a Directorate of National Cohesion, because as we're supposed to do trainings, we're supposed to do sensitization. That is generally capacity building of the populace, so that people can understand what human dignity is, what Utu is among the 17 national values. We realized that so far so good through our annual report that we do, which we get from a lot of agencies in the Republic, like in the year under review, this 23 to 24 reporting period. We've had over 500 institutions reporting to us, which give us reports on what they've done to promote the 17 national values, among them Utu, that is human dignity. So far, we can base our, the levels to which we've impacted the society based on the outcome of the reports that we've had. So far, so good. We've done, this is the 11th report. We began doing the reports in the year 2013. So the 11th report is another yardstick that we're using to find out to what extent the persons in the society getting the benefits of having these, values like Utu or human dignity being implemented. So the reporting, instrument that we do, the State of the Nation address that we do out of the report, is one of the significant ways through which we do measure the impact that we have in the society. Because we get real time, narratives through reports from government agencies, through reports from government ministries, departments, as well as various organizations in the Republic that are funded by the Exchequer.
Maybe in a nutshell, just briefly, you could tell us the key highlights of this 11th report. And then maybe we also know that the State of the Nation address, there's been a delay. So maybe you could just briefly also speak on that.
The highlights of the President's report that we've done, which has not been read, is that so far so good we've seen a marked sort of improvement in terms of people understanding. Because when we get over 500 agencies reporting on the various values as well as human dignity being one of them, because it's value number 6 in the Constitution under Article 10, we realize that a lot of entities, like when you look at Ministry of Interior, where we find issues to do with the national government administration officers, the extent to which the national government administration officers have participated in the registration of indigents, those who are very needy in the society, through these government programs such as what we have like Linda Mama. Currently we have Social Health Authority.
When you mention the SHA, I know you put them in a way that it's all trying to promote dignity, but then really does, because if you listen to what's really happening on the ground, while these things, the government tries to portray them as things that are going to promote dignity, but in real sense, when you look at the impact that we have right now, is that it's worsening a bit. Because if you look at the deduction, I don't know if you saw the outcry that was there. October was the first month when there was deductions for the new shift rates. Yes. Yeah. And then I know just the conversation around the housing debate has been there for a while, and you find that while you're trying to promise a more dignified life in the future, what is happening? The standard of living for most people right now is going down because there's less income. There are more deductions. Yeah. So even in the aspect of just promoting dignity, does the government listen to what people want before they come up with these policies? Because, I feel like a part of human dignity is also, I don't know if this is part of inclusion, but like everyone's voice should also be heard.
Questions to do with the initiative the government has put in place to address the dignifying health situation, the dignifying shelter situations in the Republic. There is usually this saying that there is no gain without pain. The government is just working on a blueprint that was set in the year 2008 when we came up with the Vision 2030. The MTPs, government has been implementing Vision 2030 in a rather staggered manner. From 2008 to 2012, we had the first medium-term plan, which had various projects that were to be undertaken. Recall, Vision 2030 has three pillars. The first pillar is social pillar, the second pillar is a political pillar, the other pillar is economic pillar. So issues to do with the SHA as well as affordable housing units that are being done. I know they have said that there's no gain without pain. MTP 5 that we are now implementing, this is the last MTP. Yes? This MTP 5. 2012, that MTP 1, 2017, MTP 2. This is the fourth MTP, medium term plan. These were already, and they are already there in government plans, that we were to move to universal health coverage. And how do we move to universal health coverage? Experts have advised, persons who are knowledgeable, and also the public have been, the views of the public have been canvassed so as to find out how do we achieve universal health coverage where those who are high or top-end earners, those who are on the lowest ebb of the society, those who are in the middle ranks of the society, access health, because that is what would make it universal. So it comes to a situation where actuarists who are in government, government officers, did their maths and found out that for us to achieve this, there needed to be, an increase in deductions on the part of employed cadres in the Republic. Then apart from that, it has not left out those who are not, formally employed. Those who are doing small businesses, those who are in the micro and medium-sized, sectors of the economy. So using the means testing instrument, which the Minister of Health is in charge of, they've aggregated and found out what can they, contribute, so as to ensure that there is affordable, and accessible health care. So in as much as, yes, there is a pain, but in the long term, because Vision 2030 is about long-term development agenda of the Republic, we are looking at a situation where we have a prosperous and competitive nation by the year 2030, enjoying high quality of life. How do we get high quality of life without, universal health coverage? We must address this. And issues to do with even housing, when you look at the social pillar still within Vision 2030, it talks about people living in a clean, secure environment. We want clean and secure environment by having houses, yes? Houses that are dignifying, houses that have water, houses that have proper sanitation. So all this is in MTP 3 and MTP 4. We are continuing with that. So as to ensure that in as much as we've had slums for years on end, you recall Kibera is the second largest slum in Africa, after the one in Cairo. So to eliminate this, the government has to find a way in which we must contribute towards having affordable and clean and secure neighborhoods for people to live in.
Even with this new, the changes that are happening currently with SHIF, I think the issue is, in as much as there's no pain without gain, it's the cost is too high for most, but the cost is too high, and while it's a promise for a better future, I think these promises have been there like since way back, and we see a lot of this, but then what happens is there's a lot of embezzlement of these funds. So we really never see any of this. Most of these promises never come to fruition. So it's just promise, and I think that's the pain that a lot of people have. Like, the deductions is one thing, but even these deductions, in as much as they hurt, there's a high chance we will not see the impact of this pain.
Our topic was on governance and accountability, and this touch on governance and accountability, I agree.
Yeah.
How do we govern the funds that the government is mobilizing from the republic, from the citizens? Then how is government accountable? Because you've raised questions of persons having experiences in the past where funds were embezzled. You see, all these are exceptions. I agree that they've been happening, but this administration that we currently have is really committed, because even the previous administration where we had the previous government had begun the process of affordable housing units. And if it was to again proceed, only that the constitution limits 2 terms for an administration. So if it was to proceed, we were still going to implement these current issues that we are currently seeing that are quite a thorn in the flesh of Kenyans. And what the government is doing to ensure that there's no embezzlement of funds, you've seen a lot of, a lot of improvements that are being done, a lot of innovations that are being put in place to ensure that agencies that were initially not performing well can perform to the optimal levels. So at the end of the day, those who cannot afford these houses, I know that that question is also pertinent.
Yeah.
But what the government is doing is to ensure that people can get earnings. Yes, there is a lot of efforts being made to ensure that a lot of economic sectors that are not functioning initially can function, so that people can get access to means of, even paying for these houses. You've seen the other day we had a number of Kenyans who were queuing at KICC looking for jobs. And apart from that, even the volunteership program by the government is still being widened, even the persons who are doing the public service internship program. So that a person who is in a volunteership sort of program can get access to funds, that they can save a little bit and have a way in which they can also access these houses.
Maybe we could start with your definition and understanding of Utu, how the concept of Utu aligns with all these other national values.
Utu is a Swahili term for human dignity, which is one of the principles that we have in the Article 10 of the Constitution. It refers to, in Swahili you say ubinadamu. Kumchukulia mtu mwingine kama binadamu mwenzako, kumpatia hadhi ambayo inatoshana na yeye kama binadamu, sio kama mnyama mwingine. Tunajua wanyama wengine kama mbwa, vile vingine kama ng'ombe, hawako katika kiwango cha binadamu. Sasa ndio tunasema ya kuwa vile unavyo ambatana ama unavyomfanyia niseme mbwa uweze kumfanyia binadamu. Na hiyo ndio maana hata serikali pia inahakikisha ya kuwa wanadamu wanapatiwa labda zile huduma ambazo ni tofauti na wanyama wengine kama niseme mbwa, kama paka, kama ng'ombe. Sasa hiyo ndio maana ya utu. But in English we say that utu, that is human dignity. Dignified lifestyle or a dignified treatment, humane treatment, treating a person because of self-worth of the person as a human being. Ethical treatment. Ethical meaning that there are ethics that govern subsistence of a human being. That a human being is a creature that has faculties that are not comparable to other animals in the animal kingdom. So in that regard, our conception as a government and as an agency that is concerned, that is, given the role of promoting Utu, is that it's the ethical treatment, respect that is accorded to human beings, respect that is accorded to citizens in the republic. So that is our conception of what Utu is, or what human dignity is. So you're asking about how it's, how does it relate to other values? You find Utu to really is cross-cutting. Because when you look at the 17 national values that we have, when you look at the national values in the Constitution, a value such as patriotism, which requires pride, how do we express pride as Kenyans? You see, you cannot be proud as a Kenyan if you feel that you are not respected. Yes, so that's one linkage that we have between human dignity and one of the values that like human dignity, like patriotism. Or when you take another value such as national unity, you know, we are looking at a situation where we have oneness, that is, you know, being unified in one purpose. That is what underlies national unity. So, you know, you cannot really have a united nation, which is the aspect of that national value, national unity, when persons feel that they're not being treated in ethical manner. So you find human dignity undergirding or sort of influencing the processes of ensuring that we have a nation state that is united. Yes? When you look at even devolution, sharing a devolution of power, when you look at section of paper number 8, that is policy on national values and principal governance, we say that county governments, one of their roles as a duty bearer at that level of governance, that they are meant to ensure that through their programs and projects and the County Public Service Board, they have to promote the 17 national values. Yes, through county public service boards, leave alone what we do at the national level. So they're supposed to put initiatives through the county public service boards to ensure that the 17 national values, of which Utu is one of them. So the county governments ensure that there is, you know, access to resources, there is access to services. Before we had the county governments in place, there were complaints that people were saying that all resources are in Nairobi, the seat of national government. So through sharing a devolution of power, we are ensuring that even those who are in far-flung areas like Turkana, persons who are in some far-flung areas like Lamu, they also get dignified treatment because allocations are given for the county. So in that regard, through resource, you know, capacity building and resources being given to the county governments, we are, you know, mainstreaming human dignity through sharing a devolution, which is a value. Rule of law, which is another value. How does it relate to human dignity? You know, rule of law refers to a situation where everybody has to live within a set of rules. As a legal maxim, you know, indicates. So, Utu, that is human dignity. Persons have to be taken through a certain, you know, layer of laws, which requires them to treat others in a manner that is humane. So in that regard, the law will prescribe on how you relate with, or how the government treats another citizen, or how another citizen treats another one. Like, for instance, those inmates, initially before we changed the name from prison to correctional services, you know, when it was a prison, people were really being treated like animals in those, yet they were not being corrected. So you find that through Utu, human dignity as a value has impacted on how prisoners are treated. So that relates to the laws governing correctional services that we have in the country. Or participation of the people, or what you call democracy, participation of the people as a value number 5. You realize that persons feel valued when they're involved in processes of arriving at a decision. Recently, you saw what was taking place, the political processes that were taking place. Persons saying that there was no public participation when we were doing the impeachment motion, and the public was supposed to, you know, give their views on whether there is a need for impeachment. You know, that is another way of, again, promoting human dignity through, you know, democracy and participation of the people. People participated in all parts of the country. A lot of, maybe I can go on and on. You look at even values such as, you know, human rights. You know, ethical treatment as a human being. You have an innate right that is given by God. So that right that is given by God is what also underlies human dignity through human rights as a value. So it aligns with even a value such as equity, which talks about fairness and impartiality. How, you know, you would have to be impartial to a human being, such that if there is a person A and person B, then you have to be fair to both of them. If one is short and one is tall, you are called upon to exercise fairness. So that is just to ensure that the other person is also treated as a human being like just the other person, only that their height is what is at variance. Or a value such as, a principle such as, inclusiveness. One of the aspects of human dignity is that inclusiveness. So that aligns so well with the human dignity. Or a principle such as transparency and accountability. Are you transparent enough? Are you transparent? Are you open? Are you providing information in an open manner?
Yeah.
Or are you taking a responsibility for what you do?
Yeah.
And what you do here, are you doing it to a human being? And are you doing it in a manner that is respectful of that human being? So in that regard, you find transparency and accountability as a principle in the Constitution, Article 10, also gets informed by what human dignity principles require.
Yeah.
Or sustainable development,
Yes.
Development that meets the needs of the present and the future. That is the posterity as well as the here and now.
Yeah.
We are seeing that as persons who presently inhabit this space that is Kenya, there are persons who will be inhabiting this space in the next 10 years or 20 years. Then how do we ensure that they also enjoy the same or better services than us? So that is humane. We are looking, promoting or ensuring that sustainable development is achieved in the context of ensuring that those who will come after us will even enjoy better services than us.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of concurrence between the human dignity and the 17 national values.
That was very profound, and just emphasis on how important Utu is as one of our national values. Yeah. So I think even as we just delve further into this, we found that I think we had briefed you, and also you saw some of the videos that we, some of the narratives that we recorded when we went to the ground, just to see what issues are affecting their dignity. And so things like corruption, bad governance, the mistrust that people have with the leaders, and then some key issues that were very interesting was the lack of understanding on the governance service charter. People really don't know what roles different leaders play. And then there's which we had even spoken about earlier, there's a lack of change. Like every 5 years we have a government, but really we do not see much change. That was another issue that came up. So basically the service delivery is at a low, yeah? Things are not happening. And these issues are not new issues. These are issues that have been there since back, the issues that Kenyans continually face, even regardless of what government is there. What do you think is the issue? Why are these issues so persistent? And you see, these issues are not just issues in the 5 areas that we visited. They're also issues that affect Kenya at large. So how do you think these issues affect national cohesion and values, and more so Utu? So why do you think they persist?
You realize that people are raising indeed pertinent issues about service delivery, the unresponsiveness of, the duty bearers. When the constituents there are being right holders, they can't see the issues being considered. Their persistence since the first republic that we had in the year 1963, because that is when we had the first republic. The Kenyatta government 1, Kenyatta government 2, all these are just an indication that, yes, there are issues that, President Kenyatta and his first administration talked about eliminating illiteracy, ignorance, illiteracy, which is ignorance, poverty, as well as, diseases. Those three, which are core elements of what brings down or what denigrates, the dignity of the citizens. These issues are persisting because of what I would say is that we are a transitional society. This society that we have, the society that is made up of citizens and the government, is a transition society, because when we got independence in 1963, Now we are 51 years. We are 61 years of age as at now. Since 1963 up to now, that's 61 years of age. I think on 12th of December, we'll be marking 61st birthday for this republic. So as a transition society, we are bound to still experience this. But I'm not saying that I'm not saying that I'm not really giving a blank check to us who are in government that we must continue seeing these issues happening. But we are saying that it's progressive.
Yes.
It's progressive. What I saw on the various respondents that you surveyed, they talk about leaders who are unresponsive. In the Constitution, we have a recall clause. I think it's article, I can't recall the article precisely. So they're supposed to use these mechanisms to recall these, representatives in the Republic. And you see, it's incumbent upon the citizens who keep government in check.
Yeah.
So you as civil society organization, you see, you play a very great role by ensuring that you mirror such kind of happenings in society. So we would expect you to also help us by educating these persons, because at times they have suspicion about us in government. When you talk, they feel that there is something that's going to happen, because people have some preconceived notions of what government officers are. So that is where you come in as a CSO. You are the moderating variable. You are more acceptable to them. You are embraced much more than us. So it's upon you now to, I know you are doing a lot, and we appreciate that Greco is doing a lot, because so far so good, the education that you are giving these people, allowing them to speak out, is also part of education. So we want you to really, up your game much more. You've upped your game, but we want you to steep it much further and let them know that they can do what we call a recall. They can recall, they do petitions, just like recently what you saw in Parliament, an MP seeking a petition to be cleared by a number of MPs in Parliament. So you may also tell them that they can petition these people through recall clause, so that they can have them replaced. And apart from that, before you leave the horse to bolt, because it's very difficult to return a horse that has bolted out of the stable. So these people, you need to sensitize them more on what they need to do so as to elect persons who are responsive, persons who are accountable. Yes? And I don't just want to say that it's upon the citizens on their own. The government exists to ensure that, there is, governance that is being done in a manner that is addressing the needs of the persons in the society. So we have institutions that are in place. Even within Parliament, we have institutions that are Constitutional Oversight Implementation Committee, that is being led by, I think, Honorable Mwachomba, this lady, the MP from Githunguri. They're supposed to ensure that they look at the fact that this principle of the Constitution, like recall clause, is implemented. Apart from that, we have institutions that are meant to safeguard the interests of the citizens, so that we don't leave the citizens at the mercy of. For instance, one person said that when you go to the CD office, the officers there are, very discourteous. Yes. All this they can report, because these officers who are in the NG national government, national government offices like the CDF offices, the officers who have been employed, these are civil servants. So they're supposed to go to government institutions that have been created, which are even much better than the ministries and departments where we are. Like we have the Constitution, that is the Office of Ombudsman. That is the office that is supposed to ensure that there's fair administration. There is access to fair administrative justice. You went there, you were not served, the persons who were there were discourteous. You need to report that. Ombudsman would not charge them anything. And then again, I'm going back to what I said. that you are more, accessible to them. The citizens, they look at you with a lot of good notions than the government officers. So you may tell them that they may go to ombudsman. Ombudsman will take action against such officers who are in national government offices. And apart from that, there is EACC. If a case of corruption that I saw in the video, the citizens that you surveyed in Kibra talking about certain roads being done not as per the specifications of the road, some of them not being compensated for being displaced when the road construction was being done. All this can be addressed by even EACC, because there is what you call project, PAPs, project affected persons. Project affected persons are usually within the various project implementation cycles, such that when somebody's been displaced from maybe away leave, yes, because they were on away leave, somebody was had directed his or her kibanda on away leave. So when the government is now doing its project on the way leave, you're supposed to be compensated. Project affected persons. So all this is something that they need to get, and because CRECO is in the thick of things, you do education for these citizens, educate them on their rights to seek for compensation, which is within the whole ambit of implementation of government projects.
I like a lot of what you said, and maybe just to touch on some of the things you've said, like the process of recalling. I feel like, especially with the Gen Z protests that we had early this year, I saw a lot of people coming together to try and recall their leaders, but without an IBC, how will that be successful, given, So those are just some of the issues that are also on this other side. And then now, I actually agree the problem starts with how we elect our leaders. And I think that tale is very old, where people come and say they will do all these things, but with every election cycle, it's the same thing. People promise and do not deliver. But then again, I agree, it's a call for even the citizenry to be more wise in their decisions, in how they elect their leaders. And then the one for reporting issues, well, I agree, but this Kenya, the corruption that is within our systems, who gets to, whoever has the upper hand is the person who's able to grease someone's hand, and, and it's so bad. I think this is one of the things that tabia za Kenya, as we say, if you want to find the rudest people, go to government offices. Some government offices, let me say that. And it's just, I don't know, it's just a representation of the kind of systems that we have. Yeah? But we hear what you said, we hear you. And let's hope that with time things will change. So I think the other thing that we were interested in knowing is if there are any partnerships that you have. Basically, what are you currently doing to enhance human dignity? I know you said one of your major roles is more of awareness creation and training, but maybe just a little bit more detail with what are you doing? Do you have partnerships? Really, what are you doing to promote Utu? Now that you've seen, and I'm sure you're aware of these situations, in as much as we can see the strides, we also know the issues that happen. If you get reports from 500 agencies, I'm sure these things must appear in those reports. So it's not new that there's a lot, even specific cases like what you're talking about, compensation for guys who've been displaced. And that's just one of the examples. I'm sure you get all these things. And so in efforts to promote cohesion and values, what is the directorate doing?
On question on regarding partnerships, you see, we have partnerships, public partnerships policy that we have in government. That framework has been, it's been in place since 2018 because with the liberalization of the international economy, government cannot just depend on, citizens' taxes. So for a long time, we've had partnerships with the nation-to-nation partnership that we have with the Chinese government. Yes, you saw the SGR was done. Yes, there was a loan that was given by the Exim Bank of China, and it's more of because of the partnership the government has, done. So that is one way in which we ensure that Kenyans were not sagged much more with the taxation to do an SGR. The other day you saw a new, pact being signed by our Ministry of, Roads on extending the SGR to the other side up to Malaba. That is also, again, to alleviate the pain on the citizens, to ensure that we can get concessional loans, not commercial loans, so as to do certain projects. And this is just still meant to mainly promote human dignity.
There are people on the ground who cannot even afford that bus fare, so they walk from town. They walk from Kibra to industrial area. Those are the people we are more concerned about, yeah? And you see, if we are going to go into the system, it's how corrupt this system is sometimes. People go to school, they're not able to get these jobs because of corruption. Like, look at the TSC, the issues that are being raised around graduates who graduated many years back and they're not able to get these positions because you have to grease someone's hand. But if you look at most people's backgrounds, not everyone can be able to afford that amount to be able to get a job. So even while we are trying to have this development and be as developed, but really the root issues, poverty is a key issue in this country. And a lot of this poverty is because of corruption. Yeah? So maybe you could just speak to that. Because those are the issues, those are the issues that a lot of the people face. And those are the people that we met on the ground. Mtu amemaliza shule lakini ameenda miaka sijui ngapi bila kazi.
What the government is really doing in order to alleviate all of this, you're talking about partnerships. I don't want to talk about the mega partnerships. The partnerships at the directorate level. We talked about Uraia, that I'm happy that you have, a liaisons with the Uraia.
Yeah.
We've had, sessions with the Uraia. We signed an MOU with the Uraia when the former news anchor was, I think the executive director, it was called Udwa Kamimo. She was here, the likes of Helen Mudora. We've been here. We've done a lot of activities with them. They've sponsored our officers to go and talk about national values and what we are doing on radio stations, a lot of radio stations. And apart from that, they aided us in doing abridged versions of national values, booklets, which we are really very much appreciative about. And a lot of also training, workshops that they've invited us to, pre-election workshops, so as to enable Kenyans to know their rights and what they can do in regards to the value on democracy participation of the people, so as to make people be in a position to elect leadership that would make their lives more dignified. Yes. So those kind of partnerships, currently we're having partnerships, partnership with IFIT. That is the Institute for Transitional, Research. It's a French agency. Yes. We are doing a study. You saw my colleagues being led by the director. Yeah. They are working on tools, data collection tools. So you saw 207, the dignifying treatment of Kikuyus in Kisumu, the dignifying treatment of the Luos in Naivasha. Yes, where lives were lost. Some lives of Kikuyus in Eldoret were lost. Lives of Kalenjins in places like Kibra, places like Matare, persons, those dignifying cases. So we are having that partnership so as to, again, ameliorate on cases of indignity. Yes. Again, another partnership that we have is with the Mizizi Africa, which is helping us to come up with projects They are going to enable us to have certain activities being implemented, which is, at the end of the day, would percolate to the promotion of human dignity. Yes, because as we look at the 17 national values which they are going to aid us in, running activities on, one of the values is human dignity. So through that, we are going to, again, still give a shot in the arm to the processes of promoting, human dignity. So far, so good. What we are doing to ensure that there is promotion of national cohesion and national values in the Republic is based on the two policies that we have. The policy on national cohesion, that is session paper number 9 of the year 2013, which has 3 dimensions for national cohesion, promotion of national cohesion. One of them being perspectives dimension. How do you perceive a Kikuyu? How does a Kikuyu perceive a Luo? Yes? How does a Luya perceive a Masai? Yes? Those perspectives, because at the end of the day, when people do not really look at the self-worth of the individuals, they pigeonhole persons based on your, native birthright, then it brings about indignifying treatment. So we are doing that through, of course, IFIT that talked about the current study that we are undertaking. Then another dimension is, equity perspectives. We've had, and we continue having, last week we had our officers some officers with a government agency that deals with the issues to do with the revenue allocation, yes? And what we are doing, that is just a snapshot of what we do. And what we're doing is that to ensure that they get to know that they need to work on certain parameters that ensures that people can access resources. Allocation of resources is done in a manner that is equitable. Yes? National government officers who are with the national government, national government CDF, sometimes back in August. That is an agency that I saw in your video people complaining about when you go to the officers in the offices. So we believe that after the sensitization that our officers had with them some 2 months ago, a training, of course, they are going to change their perspectives. Yes. So that is equity perspective. So we are looking at agencies, and that's why even agencies such as Commission on Revenue Allocation submit their report, and we put them to task on certain values, which they haven't given us enough evidence of what they are doing to promote those values. All these are meant to ensure that we promote national cohesion in the society. And of course, through the partnership that we have with our, commission, that National Cohesion and Integration Commission, to oversight. Because for us, we sensitize and train as well as do exchange programs with youths. Of course, I was to talk about the youth exchange programs that we've been having, and not youths from one region. We've had Kikuyus from Muranga to Homa Bay, Homa Bay to Nyandarua. We've had Kalenjins from Eldoret to, Mombasa, that is Kilifi, from Kilifi to Vihiga, so that they can change the perspectives of the youths. So that, because we realize that you cannot, you cannot train somebody to be left-handed in old age. So we want people who are still young, people who are still very versatile. That's why we are concentrating on the youth. Apart from the youth, we've had women exchange programs, which we've supported wholly. Because we believe, and not just believe, but from studies and from scientific studies, it's realized that women are caregivers. Yes? They are life givers, they are caregivers, and they're also managers of homes. So when you give, they say that when you educate, a girl, you educate a whole society. So when we approach this through women exchange programs, they are very resilient and very open to dialogue processes. So we've been having women groups, women leaders from various counties exchanging, and then apart from that, we've also had religious exchange programs. Religious leaders, evangelicals, as well as the traditional mainstream, Pentecostal churches, We've had a program with the Anglican Church of Kenya. We have partnerships with them, MOUs with the partnership with the Anglican Church of Kenya. We have one with the Catholic Peace and Justice Committee. And these evangelical churches, like the ones for, there's one that we have in Meru, the headquarters is in Meru. So we also approach it through the religious leaders, so that when they go to the churches on Sundays, and even the Muslim through the it's IRCK, what we call it's called Inter-Religious Council of Kenya. We've had even the Muslims, we've had the Hindus, through this forum, so as to steep issues of national cohesion and values even deeper.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's interesting to see that you're doing all that, and most people who are probably not even aware of the directorate are now at least able to know what you're doing and what you're about. So maybe how can we enhance our partnership, and and any parting shot you may have with regard to Utu and the work that we are both doing to enhance Utu in the society.
Just as we've done in the previous instances, we can enhance this partnership. First of all, you see, there is usually the policy, legal, and institutional framework. The institution that we are, and the institution that CRECO is. I think at some point you were talking with the director, and he said that there was need for even much more engagement with you, so that it can be within the legislative framework that we have in CRECO. An MOU like what we have with the Uraia, so that it becomes easier, for the two institutions, that is CRECO and the Directorate of National Cohesion, to carry each other. CRECO carries the Directorate of National Cohesion, the Directorate of National Cohesion also carries CRECO. So that through mutual activity, implementation of activities, then we will even be covering much more ground. Like when you went to Kibra and you are doing all that survey, that the interviews that you did in Kibra, if the Director of National Cohesion, because that is just within Nairobi, some officer would have been there to respond. Yes? And whenever we do our trainings, like when our officers, the other day was national government, CDF officers in Kisumu for training, and you already have the data that you gathered from the interviewees in Kibra, then they would have picked on that issue there, because you have live cases. So that would make it even much more effective, an approach. That we do an MOU, we mutually run our programs. When we have programs that you're supposed to also come in, because as I said, you are much more, given a lot of, you are much more embraced by the citizenry. Because you see, the view of the government by some citizens is that the government is, not responsive. That is by some citizens. But you see, when we have you on board, there are certain cases where we can give some sessions to, take our participants through. Because we usually ensure that when you have a 1 week training, we can slot a section for you. When you have exchange programs with the youth or with the women or with the religious leaders, then you can as well come in. Because now you are specialized on issues of, Utu, issues of, educating citizens on the constitutional principles. So you can come in not necessarily on Article 10. You can come in and educate the citizens. The other day you were dealing with issues of digital democracy. Then you can as well come in and educate and sensitize our participants on what they ought to do. So as to ensure that there is a more, responsive society.
The last question, and just for clarity, with these issues, especially of bad governance and accountability, and I think all the issues that we have raised, some that you even picked from the videos, what do you think is the solution?
I think issues to do with what we saw on the videos. Lack of accountability, governance questions. The solution lies mainly with the citizens. I'm not saying that I'm vindicating the government where I serve. Because the government is doing its part,
Yeah.
and where there are cases,
Yeah.
if citizens report, because government cannot report itself.
Yeah. True.
If citizens are reporting like what they did in the interviews that you have there, then government would have, the initiative, although it has been having the initiative, but it would even do much more to ensure that agency, because government is an organized organization, we have EACC that will deal with cases of corruption, cases of unethical conduct, yes,
Yeah.
which is quite a rollback on human dignity. So the agencies, because we coordinate and spearhead,
Yeah.
would be in a position to ensure that the agencies that are concerned come on board. Like EACC, their spokesperson, whom you always see on TV, what is his name? Is part of our steering committee here.
Okay.
He does come for whenever we do the collation of these reports.
Yeah.
Yes? So it's very easy. Just call him and he picks, the call from us. We tell him that this is a case. And you see, they do sting operations,
Yeah.
EACC. So when they get a piece of information from us, then it would even be more reliable for them to respond. Yes? So issues to do with governance, citizens just need to be more educated. And that is within your province. You are educating the citizens. Educate them on what governance is. Educate them on what they need to do to ensure that there is, because governance is about efficiency and effectiveness in the delivery of services.
Yeah.
If government officers are not delivering services, then how would they know if they are not educated? So they need to be educated. They need to be sensitized by CRECO. Yes, for sure, because that is your province. You don't want to come into that.
Yeah.
What does it take to, like, issues to do with the service delivery charter, which is supposed to ensure that there is proper governance of government institutions?
Yeah.
Public members of the public aware of the service delivery charters? What does it state? There is a service that is indicated that is free. Why are they allowing themselves to fork out pennies when they are told that you're supposed to get this service free? So when they get to know this through you, then they would be in a position to make governance even better.
Yeah.
And for a part of government, the programs are there. The reform program is there. You recall the reform programs began in the late 90s, and they are continuing. We used to have government justice legal, GJ laws, government justice and legal order program run by the Swedish government within our former Minister of Justice. That program enhances governance.
Yeah.
So the reforms that even the government is still carrying out through Kenya School Government, officers are taken through trainings at Kenya School Government. A lot of our officers here have been taken through that. People go in tranches.
Yeah.
So that they get to know the reforms that are needed in the 21st century government.
Yeah.
So the government is doing its part on that, but now it's upon the citizens now to check whether the government officers are doing what they already have been taken through, and reporting in time, making sure that they are aware of institutions that are supposed to be reported to, like Commission on Administrative Justice, which is the Office of the Ombudsman. They get to know that they need to go there. They need to know that whom do they need to turn to. Yes?
Yeah.
So the solution is government continuing to implement reform programs in government, in its structures, because we haven't done the whole of it, but we are still doing. So we need to do much more of governance reform, programs for officers. Then the citizens getting to know that what are the indicators of good governance, getting educated. Then corruption, it's all about, the value on integrity.
Yeah.
Morally upright persons, or doing what is morally acceptable, is the gist of what integrity is all about. Government is having the Public Officers Ethics Act of the year 2016. All these are meant to ensure that officers act within the act.
Yeah.
They do their activities within the act.
Yeah.
Are the public aware of the Public Officers Ethics Act? What does it say about conflict of interest? What does it say about harassment? when you go to government office, are you aware of the Public Officers Ethics Act requirement that you're not supposed to be harassed? Are you aware of the fact that there should be responsibility on the part of the government officer to serve you as per the Act?
Yeah.
Yes? So on the part of the government, the officers need to be much more, taken through this Public Officers Ethics Act. And on the part of the public, they need to know that there are existing legislative frameworks that they can fall back to. The existing policies, like the Public Service Policy, the policy on Administrative Action Act of the year 2015, what does it say? So they get to know that these are things that they can, the institutions that they're supposed to report to, the policies that they're supposed to refer to, as well as the legislative frameworks they're supposed to fall back to. Yes.
It's a good place to end. Thank you so much for your time. And we hope to have more of these conversations moving forward. We just touched on a few of the issues, because if we were to go through all the issues that affect human dignity, we would be here a long time.
Oh, sure.
So, and we also hope to get in touch with other, agencies, duty bearers, to also just talk about these other issues that we've gotten. But we sincerely thank you for your time and the insights that you've given. And yeah, we look forward to more of these engagements.
Thank you.
Asante sana.
Thank you, Kreko.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kreko, for really this initiative that you've taken, because this complements government's work. Government cannot exist on its own. So with the civil society organization like yourselves coming, on board, is quite a shot in the arm to the government. So we appreciate, and we look forward to even much more engagements with you.
Nchi yetu ya Kenya tunayoipenda, tuwe tayari